Welcome back to the Fifth Quarter Podcast. I'm your host, Cade Nagyar, giving you episodes every single Tuesday and Thursday now. Yes, we have switched. Tuesdays is going to be football, and then Thursday is going to be strictly basketball. So make sure you guys tune in. We're in a whole new setup here in the Fifth Quarter Podcast. Got my own setup now. We are awesome. And, sorry for the no podcast on Thursday. Was trying to figure everything out. But we're here 2 times a week now. Fifth Quarter Podcast 2 times a week now. So let's get straight into it. So the Dallas Cowboys are the talk of the town right now. And honestly, when aren't they? That's what I'll say. When aren't they the talk of the town? I mean, they're America's football team. They will always be talked about, even if they're bad. But anyways, they came back from down 21-0 early in the game. I don't know what happened. When I was watching the game, I was like, wow, all these mistakes so early in the football game. And then, just a light switch just flicked on. And that's when the Dallas Cowboys really started to play their game. And they got stops defensively, didn't allow a single point after that. And they played a great football game. George Pickens, it's time for me to confess. George Pickens is a great football player. He is the number one receiver on this Dallas team right now in my eyes, and I'll get into CeeDee Lamb in a little bit on his struggles. But anyways, 9 receptions, 146 yards and a touchdown. He was playing great football. This is what he's been doing week in and week out from him. Has 67 receptions for 1,054 yards and 8 touchdowns on the season. He is definitely the number one receiver on this team right now. You heard it here on the Fifth Quarter Podcast. George Pickens is an up-and-coming receiver, number one receiver, if I could say, in this league. CeeDee Lamb, however, he looks like a wide receiver too, and it's showing. Drop passes, miscues. Not being that dominant player that we are used to seeing in the past couple of seasons. CeeDee Lamb, last season even, we saw him. He's a top 3 receiver, and strictly this season, ever since the first game, he's been off. There's something about him that's just been off about his game. And I don't know what to say about it, right? So I don't know. I mean, I think that, I'm going to bring up this question too. Is CeeDee Lamb better or not better with George Pickens? I don't know. I mean, I like George Pickens a lot on this squad. Him and CeeDee Lamb, they bring a lot of to the table on this team. So when I look at it, I say CeeDee Lamb needs George Pickens to help win a championship. It helps take the load off of CeeDee Lamb, right? So, I look at this and I say, George Pickens was much needed in a Dallas Cowboys uniform. And CeeDee Lamb likes George Pickens there. They have a great chemistry together. And I think that's where Pickens really found his confidence in a Cowboys uniform is from George Pickens. George Pickens needed CeeDee Lamb. So the Cowboys, they play the Chiefs on Thanksgiving Day in a couple days. And I don't know. This is going to be a top 5 watched game in NFL history in my eyes, because both of these teams have something to prove in this game for the rest of the season. And, that being, let's look at the Chiefs side here. The Chiefs, if they go and win another game, they beat the Colts on Sunday, and now they go and play the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday. And, before you know what, they're at 7-5, and they're in the playoff hunt. Still, I look at the Chiefs and I say, if you told me before Sunday, I would have said, Chiefs are probably dead in the water. The Colts, they have that game locked up. They were up 20-9 in that game, and the Chiefs end up coming back and winning, but I'll get into that later. But now they go and play the Cowboys, and the Cowboys, they're a solid team as well, and they need this win, because if they go and get this win, they stay in the playoff hunt, and they could really push for a wild card spot at the end of the season. So both of these teams have something to prove, and nevertheless, it is on Thanksgiving. It's on Turkey Day. So we'll see what happens on Thanksgiving Day. I don't know if George Pickens will go for 150 receiving yards. I don't know if he'll say collard greens, all that, like I said earlier. But we can see George Pickens. I could see George Pickens really dominating on Thanksgiving Day again. Dallas needs to put things together right now. Nevertheless, you know, uh, it's the same with these 5-5, 5-6, 7-5 teams. It's like, you have to put it together right now. Now is the time where you go on a hot streak. I mentioned it last week on the podcast, and I'm going to mention it here today. If you want to go and make it to a playoff spot, you have to put together a hot streak right now. Now is the time where you say, hey, let's go on a streak here. Let's win some games. So Dallas' remaining games are the Chiefs, Lions, Vikings, Chargers, Commanders, and Giants. Most of these games are pretty much winnable. Chiefs and Lions are hard. Chargers are hard, but Vikings, Commanders, Giants are very winnable games for the Dallas Cowboys. So they're sitting at, I believe, 6-5-1 right now. If they go and get 3 more wins, they're at 9-5-1. And, you're kind of on the cusp of a wild card spot at that point. If they can sneak out a win against the Chargers or maybe even the Chiefs or the Lions, you're sitting at 10-11 wins by the end of the season. So you could really compete for a top wild card spot by the end of the season. So I see Dallas going to the playoffs, in my opinion, just based off the remaining games on their schedule, but we can see this later. I want to mention Dallas running attack as well. It's flying under the radar. Javonte Williams has found a home in Dallas, and he is loved there. I think he had 87 rushing yards and a touchdown this Sunday, and he's really playing great football. So I look at Javonte Williams, and I think he's the unsung hero of this Dallas Cowboys team, in my opinion. Kudos to the Cowboys on Sunday. Seriously, he had me rooting for them in this game against the Eagles for some odd reason. Maybe it's because, the Eagles have won so much, and, then they have this game where they're up 21-0, and at some point I was just like, man, I kind of want the Cowboys to win this game, because not only is it a great story that they come back from 21-0, but also, the Cowboys, I don't want the Eagles to win and squeak out a win like they've been doing this whole season. They've been squeaking out wins this whole season against solid teams, and the Cowboys really they put a stop to that. They said, no, you're not going to let us, we came this far to come back, and we're going to finish this thing off. So the Cowboys did that. Let's look at the Eagles, though. And I look at the Eagles and I say, the Eagles have Saquon Barkley. He's literally the cover of Madden 26. Where is he in these games? I don't know if the Madden curse might still be real. I don't know. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has busted that myth, but Saquon Barkley has been stale this season, it feels like. And honestly, the whole Eagles squad itself has been stale this season. No motivation to really win games, but they're still a really good team so that they can win these games, but they're still winning, but there's no motivation behind it, I feel like their team is just kind of going through the motions, like, oh, okay, we got to play this game here. Let's do it. And I don't know. I mean, it's not, they don't look like a fun team. They don't look like they want to play. Every time they run the tush push, they don't look like a team that wants to win. And I don't want to see that team compete in the playoffs and eventually try and win the Super Bowl again, because I like to see a team that has some motivation behind it, like the LA Rams. I think they're the best team in the league. We'll get into that later, but the Rams, they have some motivation to win. Puka Nacua has some motivation to win. Devontae Adams wants to win one. Matt Stafford wants to take home an MVP and win another Super Bowl to really solidify him into a first ballot Hall of Famer list here. So I think the Eagles, once they won their Super Bowl last year, they kind of ran out of motivation, and that's kind of what I see, lackluster gameplay from them, even though they have this very talented roster. In the Eagles, they try to keep A.J. Brown happy by passing the ball. In my opinion, stick to your bread and butter. I know your offensive line isn't as good as it was in the past, but you still got to stick to running the football with Saquon Barkley. That'll really open up your offense, and that's what will make Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown open. Those safeties, they start to come up when Saquon Barkley keeps on running the ball 15, 20 times a game. That's what they were doing last season. They got explosive plays off of it. They had a lot of explosive plays last year. And I think A.J. Brown could really have been mad at that last year. But now that they're not running the ball, they can keep those safeties as far back as they want so that they can double team A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. There's nothing that they can do about it. So, in my opinion, if I'm the Eagles right now, I am, what did we do good on last year? And after that, they'll say, hey, Saquon Barkley is on our team. Let's keep running the football, and then we'll see what explosive plays we can come up with in the latter half of this season. Just a total Eagles meltdown on Sunday. They need to figure out this offense come playoff time. But let's go on to the Chiefs. And the Chiefs shocked me and the world by beating a dominant Colts team on Sunday. As I was watching that game, they were up 20-9, like I said earlier. When I was watching that game, I said, man, the Colts, they might be legit. And how perception can change after one half of football is insane. Because the Colts did a disservice to everyone. The AFC Conference, the NFL, the fans. They want to see the Chiefs lose. The refs don't. Dark shot right there. But the Chiefs need to, the fans, everybody wants to see the Chiefs lose. The AFC Conference needs the Chiefs to lose so that it's not like a block. We're playing the Chiefs in the playoffs. Oh, great. Here's a loss right here. I'm going to say this right now. If the Chiefs make it to the playoffs, they will go and make it to the AFC Championship and probably the Super Bowl. Don't let the Chiefs make it in the AFC Championship. Don't make them get into the hunt into the playoffs. That is a bad, bad move. Because the Chiefs, once they make the playoffs, they say, oh man, we squeaked by in the regular season, and now we're about to win another ring. Stop them. They have to stop them. The Colts, they had the chance to get the knockout punch on the Chiefs and really put them to sleep in this playoff race, and they couldn't do that. They simply could not do that. And that's why I say, are the Colts really a dominant team? Are they good? They're good. Yes, the Colts are a good team. But are they great? Are they a great team? I think great teams put great teams away. And when I watched the Colts do that, I said, man, I don't know how good the Colts are. And there were still questions. Even if they beat the Chiefs, there were still questions. They have Daniel Jones as their quarterback. How is that going to come playoff time? Because we saw last year with Sam Darnold. They were so good last year. The Vikings were with Sam Darnold on it. They were so good last year. And they made it to the playoffs, played the Rams, and got absolutely obliterated in that game. So I look at this Colts team and I say, you're good. You're a really good team. But are you great? And that's what we need to see in the latter half of this season is, can the Colts put it together and can they beat good teams before the playoffs happen? I believe the Colts can make it to a playoff bye. They have a great record. But can they make it to a playoff bye? I don't know. The Patriots are looking good too. Their strength of schedule is not good either. I'll get into the Patriots later. But are the Colts great? And that's the question that I'm going to be asking the rest of this season. Chiefs, they get a big momentum swing after this game. And if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, this is the game they look at and they say, this is how we won the Super Bowl. We got this momentum after this game, and they're going to take off and run with it. I look at the record on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I say, how in the world are they 7-4 right now? Trevor Lawrence, he's so up and down. Even when I watched the game against the Cardinals, it was like he was up and then down. He threw turnovers, but also had really great passes. So I didn't know. I don't know what to expect from Trevor Lawrence every single Sunday. I don't know. So, shout out to this defense. Jags defense is stout. They got that stop in OT against the Cardinals to win. And let's look at the Jags' remaining games in this season. Mind you, right now, as of Week 12, they are a wild card team right now. So they have the Titans, Colts, Jets, Broncos, Colts, Titans. 2 games against the Colts is going to be very tough to win. 2 games against the Titans, I think you can win those games, but I'm going to get into it later. The Titans are starting to put stuff together. So watch out for the Titans right now, because they could start putting stuff together with Cam Ward. And then the Broncos, that's a really tough game to go against. And the Jets, I think, is a safe game, is the safest game that they're going to have. If they can squeak out, let's see, they're at 7 games right now. If they can squeak out 3 wins, both of the Titans games and then the Jets, you're sitting at 10 wins. That might get you into the wild card spot. But if you win 11 games, maybe, I think 11 games would for sure put you into the playoffs. But those last 6 games, I'm not sure what to think about those games, because, if we look at the Jags, I don't know, man. The Jags are so week in and week out. They're so weird. So I don't know what to expect week in and week out from the Jags. They could very well lose one of these games against the Titans, or they can go and beat the Colts. We don't know. We don't know about the Jags. The Jags are a big question mark, and it's crazy how they're a playoff team right now. We're going to take a break here. Again, it's the Fifth Quarter Podcast every single Tuesday and Thursday. We'll be back. Hey, it's your favorite voice again. If you're a sports consumer like me, you want the best and most hot news in sports in general. And the best way to get that is by following the Fifth Quarter Podcast on all the socials. Make sure you sub up on the YouTube right now at Fifth Quarter. Make sure you go follow our TikTok at the Fifth Q Pod, and make sure you follow the Instagram, the Fifth Quarter _podcast. Again, it's a Fifth Quarter Podcast. I appreciate all the support, and let's get back into the action here. Back again, second segment here of a Football Tuesday for the Fifth Quarter Podcast here. And I want to start off here on the second part of the segment talking about the LA Rams and just how dominant they have been over the past few weeks. And the Rams look like the best team in football, and that's hands down. I think they have for some weeks now, but they look scary dominant. Look at the Rams' past 5 scores, and I'll read you them off. 35-7 versus the Jags, 34-10 versus Saints, 42-26 versus Niners, 21-19 versus Seahawks, and then 24-7 versus the Bucks on Sunday night. These are teams where you look at them and you say, these teams, they're not just lollipop teams that they'll take a 24-point loss and it's expected. There are three really good teams in here, maybe even 4 if you include the Jags in here. I think that the Rams, they have played fantastic teams over the past 5 weeks, and they have really just been showing their dominance over these past 5 games. The Jags, Niners, Seahawks, and Bucks are really solid teams that have chances of making it to the playoffs, and they're just absolutely obliterating these teams. It's scary how dominant they are. The Rams can beat anyone in the league with ease. If you told me that the Rams will go and play the Kansas City Chiefs next week, I'm taking the Rams by 10. The Rams are that good at football right now. They're playing a great brand of football, and nobody can tell them otherwise. Matt Stafford has the MVP in the bag right now. It's his to lose. He has it in the palm of his hand. Unless something terribly goes wrong over these next 6 weeks, he's going to have that MVP in the bag. Matt Stafford through 12 games, 2,830 yards, 30 touchdowns, and just 2 interceptions. He's playing out of his mind right now. He's probably playing the best football that he has throughout his whole career. It's crazy to think that Matt Stafford had back issues before the season started. He doesn't even look like he had any injury before the season started, and now he's over here balling every single Sunday on your favorite team. So I really like this Rams squad. They were in my Super Bowl prediction before the season started, them and the Bills. And these weapons for Matt Stafford only help him. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. Someone is always open for this Rams squad. And let me not even start on the defense. Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, I have mentioned it before on this podcast. They are fantastic LA Rams defensive players out there. And, the thing about the LA Rams defense is that they're so underrated. All these players, they're good players, but, the biggest star that you really have on that defense is probably Jared Verse. And Jared Verse is a really good player, and he's going to be dominant for many, many years. Yes, but then you get into like a Braden Fisk, and, he's good. He's just good. And when you have a bunch of good players on defense, you're going to have a good defense. They don't really have a weak spot on defense, and that's why they've been so dominant over these past 5 games for sure. Watch out for the Rams the rest of the season. I don't see them taking the pedal off the foot off the gas here, if you would say. I expect them to roll into the playoffs with a bye and go from there. I think Matt Stafford can bring him another championship, and we'll see. So some more things around the NFL. Joe Burrow is expected to start for the Bengals next week against the Ravens. I don't know how I feel about this. Now, I understand that Joe Burrow wants to play with his squad. I think he's kind of itching to want and go play football right now. He is playing the Ravens, and it's an interdivisional game, but I don't know if it's in the Bengals' best favor for them to go and play Joe Burrow. I don't like the move, because what happens if Joe Burrow goes and gets hurt again? I don't think he's 100%. I don't think he's 100% going into this game. So I look at Joe Burrow and I say, man, like really, I would sit this one out. But if he really wants to go and play, you get paid all that money you're expected to play. I can also see that side of things for the Bengals. So go and play that game. See what happens. And then I say try and assess, because if you're 3-9, you're not going to make it far at all in the regular season. And then don't even think about it, playoffs. 9 losses to a playoff spot is unheard of. Chip Kelly fired from the Raiders after 12 games. His offense averaged 15 points a game. It's crazy to think this. He had a dominant offense in Ohio State just in January to win the national championship, and this is the difference between college and the NFL. Later, actually now I'll get into it. The difference between the college level and the NFL level for QBs is so crazy, and I think we saw that last night with Brock Purdy. There was a few the 3 throws that led to Brock Purdy interceptions were throws that were just a hair late, that were there, but they were just a hair late. And when you put a hitch in your throwing motion, or you do a pump in your throwing motion, that signals DBs like, hey, I got to go after this. And when you look at those Brock Purdy throws, those all got intercepted. In college, that would not happen. That would not happen. Only the 0.1% of the best college athletes make it to the NFL, and it shows right here with Chip Kelly getting fired. Another firing here, Shane Bowen fired by the New York Giants. I agree with this 100%. The Giants, they were very successful on Sunday against the Lions as far as scoring points with Jameis Winston, who actually caught a receiving touchdown. That was the funniest play over the weekend, in my opinion. But anyways, they were up 27-17 at one point in the game. And when you go and mess that up, you take accountability for it. And it's not just been against the game against the Lions where this has happened. It's been other games as well. I think there's about 4 or 5 games where we can go and look back at the Giants and say, man, these games were such in your favor. How do you not win these games? And that's the difference between their record being what it is and them having 7 or 8 wins right now, sitting comfortable in the NFC. So I totally agree with this firing, and I don't know where Shane Bowen is really going to be going. He might be sitting on the couch after this one. Couple of injuries for the Bucs. So you lose one and you get one back. The one you lose is Baker is going to be out against the Cardinals with a shoulder injury. So that means that Teddy Bridgewater will be playing next week for the Cardinals, and I don't think this is a bad matchup, honestly. I think if you need Baker out for a game, you go and set him out for this Cardinals game. I think that Teddy Bridgewater can make some decent throws, and him having Igbuka and Godwin coming back, and then let's mention here now, Bucky Irving will play Sunday for the Bucs. He was dealing with some injury for some time. I think he went on IR, and he's going to be coming back. So now you'll have three really good running backs in Bucky Irving, Rashad White, and Sean Tucker that will really help you. That will really help Teddy Bridgewater take the load off of him offensively. So I really like the Bucs this week as far as, okay, you have the matchup. I understand that Baker is out, but you have the matchup. So we could see some good football playing here for the Bucs this weekend, despite Baker being out. Jameis, like I said before, Jameis Winston looked good against the Lions. Problem was they were up 27-17 at one point in the game, and the defense just couldn't get things done. It's surprising how many times the Giants have been incompetent on defense. You know, despite their talent, they have the talent on defense to get it done. I think they have the best front seven in the NFL. I said it here. They have the best front seven in the NFL, and they cannot get it done defensively. I understand that their secondary is kind of weak, but they still need to get pressure on the quarterback. And Shane Bowen's game planning was not the best for this Giants team. Gibbs had a total of 264 yards and 2 touchdowns this weekend against the Giants. He's been playing good all season long. If you want to throw him in there, you know, just for giggles, that he is the best running back in the league, I would not be mad. You could throw Gibbs in there, Jonathan Taylor in there, and then Christian McCaffrey in there. All those three running backs are the top three running backs in the league. They've been doing it all year long. The production they have been putting up, and it's truly insane how the running back position has changed over the past couple years. The running back position a couple years ago was not getting paid at all. Think about that. A couple years ago, we were really saying, do we want to pay a guy like Christian McCaffrey all this money? And now it's like, man, like a dominant running back will get you places. It'll get you places. I don't know what happened with the running back position. I think that, you know, since they've been doing, there's a lot of cover 2 play now in the NFL where you're going to take away those big plays and you're going to give up those 2-3 yard plays and then really wait for third down and then try and get the stop. I feel like that's more the style of defense now. You're not really playing a cover 1. You're not really sitting in the man. You're kind of just sitting in the zone and you're saying, hey, if we can stop them, maybe get a sack, maybe get a tackle for loss, that's a win on defense. Not, hey, you know, let's get a takeaway or something like that. There's less explosive plays in the NFL than there was even 5 years ago, from what I remember. I feel like the explosive plays have gone down seriously, and that means that running back stock is going to go up. So it's no shock that Gibbs, McCaffrey, and Jonathan Taylor are having such great seasons. Saquon Barkley last year had a great season. Running backs are on the rise again. Watch out for that. The Patriots controversy, I spoke about it a little bit ago. The Patriots have played teams where they're not so hot, and they're getting a lot of crap on social media for it. I don't understand it, because when you look at the Patriots, right, the Patriots have played teams. Yes, they have played bad teams, but what makes them a good team is that every single Sunday they are ready to play, and they are going to get business done against the bad teams. And they have played a couple good, you know, solid to good teams as well in the Bucs and the Bills. So when I look at it, I say they have shown that they can beat a playoff contending team, and they're just going through their schedule. How can you blame them? How can you blame them? So I think with the whole Patriots thing for me, I think they're just that they're getting a lot of hate because they're finally good again, and fans can't really understand it and pick up on it. The Titans are starting to put things together. they gave the Seahawks quite a game there at the end. Cam Ward's starting to put it together. He had his best performance in my eyes this weekend against the Seahawks. But the Titans, if they can put some stuff together before the season ends and then go into the draft some pieces for Cam Ward, some offensive lines, some receivers, I say, hey, go all in on the offense this year. The defense is okay. Let's go all in on the offense. Let's see if we can let's see if we can give Cam Ward some pieces for him to become a high scoring offense in the league. And, it's just perfect that Cam Ward can get some pieces around him that he wants and needs for him to be successful in this league. A little bit of a funny thing here. JJ McCarthy's alter ego, 9, looking really good. Yeah, it's looking fantastic. He looked awful against the Packers. He looked awful against the Packers on Sunday. He hasn't been looking good the past couple weeks. I know that a few weeks ago, I did mention that JJ McCarthy has some really good moments, and then he has really bad moments. So, I don't know. I mean, I look at JJ McCarthy and I say, he has the tools. He has the mindset of, hey, I need to win. But I haven't seen it yet. I don't know. I don't know. And I know JJ McCarthy, it's only his first year, so I don't think the Vikings go in and give up on him immediately, but there's definitely a JJ McCarthy problem in Minnesota. And when you have the best receiver in football and one of the best wide receiver 2s in football, that's a problem. You have to get the job done with those 2 receivers. And JJ McCarthy has to lock in and figure things out, at least before the end of the season, to give Vikings fans hope in the end of the season. Bears get win over the Steelers, end up the division leader. They have been on a roll as well. I think that they're a very solid team. They're definitely a playoff team in my eyes. I think they're 8-3 now. They're a playoff team in my eyes. I don't know what I'll see from them in the playoffs because, you have a young quarterback, second-year quarterback, Caleb Williams. Very talented, but we've seen moments of him where he can fold in big situations. So I don't know what to expect in this first playoff appearance. I don't know what to expect at all. The defense is not great. So I think they're a first-round exit in the playoffs, but I think they can at least make the playoffs. It wouldn't be shocking for me if you told me that, hey, the Bears are, they're going to be a division leader by the end of the year. I would be, bravo. Claps up for you. But let's see what happens when you go and play a Rams in the playoffs. Yeah, fun. I don't know. I just think I don't think the Bears have it when it comes to playoff time. They don't have the experience like that. Like I said, Brock Purdy last night, 3 interceptions in the first half. He didn't look great, and that's part of the reason because he wasn't 100%. I think he still doesn't really trust that toe. Really needs to get back into the game pace. It's a progression when a player has an injury and comes back, and you're like, wow, this is the game pace. This is the pace of the game. And I need to get back to it, get used to it again. There's just a lot of things that Brock Purdy missed last on Monday that he needs to polish up and shape come next week. And here we go. Here's the big media part here. Shedeur Sanders wins his first career start. And I'm going to be honest here. I'm a Deion Sanders. I don't like Deion Sanders at all. I think he's really just very thick-headed, is very arrogant. But Shedeur Sanders, I don't want to give him any shade from his dad. Shedeur Sanders wins his first career start. He didn't look awful. 11 for 20, 209 yards, and a touchdown with an interception. Now, I know Shedeur Sanders, he says, I'm this, I'm that. I should be a starting quarterback in this league. Dude, you are a 5th-round pick. Let's pump the brakes a little bit, man. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's regroup here. Just practice. Just practice. And be a good player in practice, and then we'll see what happens. And he got a shot on Sunday, and he capitalized. I will say this: Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel, opposite QBs. Browns, they like the Sanders style of play. Chuck it downfield, see what happens. It only took them a quarter and a half to really come up with their biggest pass play of the season, man. Myles Garrett was impressed by Shedeur Sanders, and with the elite defense that the Browns have, if they just even have a competent offense, that can get you somewhere into the playoffs. Now this year they're probably dead in the water, but come next year, if you go and start Shedeur Sanders, and Shedeur Sanders will start the rest of the season in my eyes, but when I look at Shedeur Sanders, if he plays well the rest of the season, he could very well be the starter by next season. Very well. I don't know if Kevin Stefanski wants that, but he will be the starter the rest of this season, for sure. And then going into next season, they'll assess and see what they got, and then on to the next season they go. I think the Browns are looking towards the future again. Go draft offensive weapons. Go draft offensive weapons. Go grab another edge rusher to pair up with Myles Garrett, and they should be set. If they have even a decent quarterback, they can make it to the playoffs. On to college football here. Last week was kind of a snooze week, but this week we do have rivalry week for college football, and there's some huge games this weekend. Ohio State, Michigan is a huge deal this weekend. I think if Michigan can win against Ohio State, Michigan can squeak their way into the playoffs. I think Ohio State is safe either way, but if Michigan can beat Ohio State, I think they can make it into the college football playoff and squeak in. Miami Pitt is a huge game because, who wants to win the ACC right now? That's the big question. Who wants to win the ACC? And Pitt in Miami are going to be in there by the end of this year. So we'll see what happens with the Miami Pitt game. I don't know. If Pitt wins, that's going to be crazy. Pitt could probably make the college football playoff by the end of the year, and that's crazy to say because they have 3 losses. Vanderbilt, Tennessee is a big deal this week because they also have playoff implications in that game too. So I think if Tennessee wins, they can make their case for the college football playoff. Maybe not the SEC championship, obviously, but they can make their case to, hey, we should be in the college football playoff. Yeah. Vanderbilt, I don't really know. I don't really know about Vanderbilt as far as playoff implications go because they've had some struggles, but I don't know. I don't know. Alabama-Auburn is definitely a big deal this week, regardless of Auburn's record. Apparently, Auburn has this new kid in at quarterback, and he played great. I think he had 6 total touchdowns against the team that they were playing. They weren't playing a very good team, but if he can play even solid against Alabama, that'll give you hope for the future, and they'll definitely have a different head coach in there by next year. Alabama, they need to win this game to stay in. I think Ty Simpson will manage the game very well, and I'm going to be honest here. I like Alabama this year. I like Ty Simpson, Jerry Bernard, Ryan Williams. I like that team. I like the team. I'll probably root for them in the playoffs because they're kind of an underdog this year if we look at it. They're kind of an underdog. So let's watch out for Alabama in the college football playoff. If they make it, they got to win this game. But I think if they win, they're in. Lane Kiffin, where are you? I know he answered some questions by some reporters, and he said, I'm not going to talk anything about where I'm going to be going next year. He said that because, he doesn't want to put, he wants to stay locked in on the game. He is a distraction on the team right now, and part of the fall is on him because he really put that onto himself, sending these cryptic text messages and tweets and all that fun stuff. But where will Lane Kiffin go by next year? I think if he's smart, he stays with Ole Miss. But I don't know. I don't know because there's some team that could offer him a whole lot of money. A whole lot of money. So maybe LSU, maybe Florida. I think there's a higher percent chance that he goes to Florida than LSU, but I think he's going to stay at Ole Miss. I think that's the smartest decision for his career too. If Ole Miss wins against Mississippi State, does Lane stay or go? Does he even have his mind made up yet? Is the other question. And does this game have any say on, hey, I'm going to stay or I'm going to go? I don't know. Lane is making the decision after the game. Does he want to coach? Does he coach if they make the playoffs and he chooses to go somewhere else? Say he gets a job at Florida, does he still coach in the playoffs? Do Ole Miss fans want to see Lane Kiffin coach in the playoffs if he's going to go? I think they do because they still want to see him win a national championship. They want to see Ole Miss win a national championship. They've been good for the past 4 or 5 years, maybe even 6. So I think it's due. It's due for this national championship. This is their time. They're playing such great football. So go get them, man. Go get them. And then the last thing here, we're going to be making our picks for football this weekend. Let me pull this up here. We're going to be going to NFL here. We're going to be seeing who we think is going to win this weekend. And then we'll come back to our picks next Tuesday and see how we did. All right, week 13 here. We're going to start off Packers-Lions on Thanksgiving. All these Thanksgiving games. Packers-Lions, man. Wow. I'm going to take the Lions on this one. Jordan Love has looked inconsistent as of late. He played his best game against Pittsburgh just a few weeks ago. And I said, Jordan Love is a superstar. He's here, but he comes and goes. He walks in, walks out. Be that star. Be that guy. If he can be that this game, that would be huge for him. But I see the Lions winning this game entirely. I'll take Lions by 3. Chiefs Cowboys. This is the biggest game of the weekend. Probably the biggest game of the season. There's a lot of playoff implications with this game, in my opinion. Chiefs win. They're probably a wild card team right now. And then if the Cowboys win, they're still in the hunt. Man. Give me the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs by 1. I think the Chiefs will win that game. But if you say the Cowboys will win that game, I'm not shocked. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys won that game. The Cowboys are playing really good football right now. So, yeah, man, if the Cowboys can put it together offensively and get a few stops defensively, that'll do it. The Bengals versus the Ravens. Whew. Give me the Ravens. I know Joe Burrow's playing, and I know if the Bengals win, I don't know. Do you still rock? I don't know. Because the Ravens are leading their division right now at 6-5. So if the Ravens lose, get to 6-6, Bengals get to 4-8, then you just gotta hope that the Ravens lose a few more games. But I don't know. I don't think Joe Burrow should go in. There's no point. Go rest. Get healthy for next season. Go. We don't need you right now. Give me the Ravens though. Give me the Ravens by 3. I think it'll be a closer game than the spread says it will. The Bengals are obviously going to compete with Joe Burrow in there. So, yeah, but give me the Ravens by 3 here. And then Black Friday football here. Bears versus Eagles. Give me... Oh, man, this is a really good game. Let's see. The Bears are going to have a great offense once again, even with a dominant Eagles defense. Give me the Eagles. And they're going to struggle offensively, but they're going to bounce back, especially after that Cowboys game. Really give it to the Bears. I'm gonna take Eagles by 6 here. I think Caleb Williams will end up throwing a turnover. Yeah. Give me the Eagles on that one by 6. I think they'll finally start to. They can run the ball against the Bears for sure. So I think Saquon Barkley will go over 100 yards. But yeah, give me the Eagles on this one. Jaguars versus Titans on Sunday. Give me the Jaguars. I know the Titans are going to compete, but give me the Jags by 3 on this one. It's an interdivisional game, and the Jags really need it to keep their playoff hopes alive. So yeah, give me the Jags on that one. Saints versus Dolphins. Give me the Dolphins. Dolphins are starting to put it together. Give me Miami by 7 on that one. Give me Miami by a touchdown. I like that. Cardinals versus Bucks. Give me Bucks. I think the Bucks win by. I think the Bucks win by 3 here. I know they have Teddy Bridgewater in, but give me the Bucks by 3 here. I think they have a solid offense still, even with Teddy Bridgewater in there. And then their defense has been getting takeaways, and I think it's just a matter of time before Jacoby Brissett throws the ball away. 49ers versus Browns. Ooh. Give me the 49ers. I think Shador's going to compete, but give me 49ers by 9 on this one. 49ers by 9 is probably where I would go with this one. But Shador will definitely compete and try to win this game. It'll probably be ugly, but we'll see. I think Brock Purdy will put it together against the Browns and eventually win the game. It's going to be a low-scoring game, but give me the Niners by 9 on that one. Texans versus Colts, interdivisional game as well. Man. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the Colts go on a 2-game losing streak here. Give me the Texans. They're starting to put it together, man. Defensively, they are one of the best defenses in the league. They're getting takeaways left and right. Give me the Texans by 1 on this one. I think the Texans are going to end up winning this game just because maybe Daniel Jones is going to fall back down to earth. I don't know. Texans are going to be able to stop the run against Jonathan Taylor, so they're going to have to make Daniel Jones pass the football. Falcons, Jets, give me the Falcons. Falcons by 10. Falcons by 10 on this one. Rams, Panthers, give me the Rams by 14. Man, the Rams are just dominant. And, Panthers, unfortunately on Monday, they didn't give the ball to Rico Dowdle, which I didn't like. So, use Rico Dowdle. Maybe you can win and compete against the Rams. Feed the ball to Rico Dowdle. He is a really good player. Give me Rams by 14, though. Vikings, Seahawks. Like I said, there's a J.J. McCarthy problem there. Give me the Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks by 10 on that one. I think the Seahawks are, they're still there. They're still all there. And Jackson Smith-Njigba, nobody's going to stop him on that Vikings defense. I know the Vikings defense is solid, but give me the Seahawks. Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to burn all of them. Raiders, Chargers, give me the Chargers. They're going to bounce back here. I'm going to win here. Give me the Chargers by 7. Justin Herbert is not really playing the best season, but I think the Chargers are really going to squeak this one out here. Bills, Steelers. Man. Give me the Bills on this one. The Steelers, they're so middle of the pack, man. They're going to end up 8-8 again. I don't know. They're going to end up 8-8 again, and I think the Bills are just really competing for something. Josh Allen's probably pissed off, so give me the Bills on this one. And then we got the Sunday night game, Broncos, Commanders. Give me the Broncos. Broncos by 10. Bo Nix is playing really well. That defense is suffocating. The Commanders, they haven't really put much together. If Jane Daniels plays, there's not much to be told right there. Sophomore slump for Jane Daniels. Give me the Broncos on that one. And then Monday night, the Dolphins the Giants and the Patriots. Give me the Patriots by 7 on that one. Patriots are just they're playing good football. I like the way the Patriots are playing, man. Just overall as a whole, the Patriots are playing really good football. But that will do it for the Tuesday football day on Fifth Quarter Podcast. We're in a new era. Make sure you follow all the socials. We will be back on Thursday for basketball content. Even though it is Thanksgiving, we will be back. Don't know when the video will be posted for Thursday, but it'll get posted for sure. Again, it's a Fifth Quarter Podcast, and I appreciate you guys for supporting and listening. And everybody have a great Thanksgiving weekend, and I'll see you guys on Thursday.